Today is July 25th. We will have our public hearing on our item that's on second reading. I'll read that item on here for the record, which is the rezone of the Campbell property located at the southern corner of Hillview Drive, North Mount Juliet Road, map 72A, Group A, parcel 30, from single-family residential RS40 to commercial town center. Public is invited to comment on this. This is our public hearing on this item. If you have comments on anything else, we will have a public hearing again at the beginning of our regular scheduled meeting. But if you'd like to comment on the Campbell property rezone, I'd ask you to come forward, give your name and address for the record. Not really seeing a long line, so if there's nobody interested in comment, we will adjourn the public hearing and we will reconvene in approximately 7 or 8 minutes for our regular meeting. Good evening. Welcome to the Mount Juliet Board of Commissioners. Today is July 25th. I'll declare this meeting called to order. We have a quorum present. We have 3 of the 5 elected officials here, so we can conduct the business of the city of Mount Juliet. So without objection, we'll set the agenda as published. Hearing no objections, the agenda is set as published. We have a somewhat short 55-page packet, 1 item on one unfinished business, 4 items on new business and appointments. If you would like to follow along, the agendas are in the wire baskets in the back, and we also have them available online if you're watching at home for your enjoyment, and you may follow along there. Our next item is our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Do we have our... Oh, there. He was well hidden.
Camouflage in a white shirt.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Fire Chief Loveman, would you please lead us with the invocation and pledge, sir?
Yes, I would. Please pray with me. Gracious Heavenly Father, we invite you into these proceedings, and we thank you for the freedom of the provisions that you have provided for us to meet freely and best serve your people. Please grant these elected officials and city administrators with the wisdom and courage to work together for the greater good of this very blessed city. Forgive me, Lord. Please forgive us all when we're weak and we're less than the example set by your Son. Please grant us the grace that your Son shone throughout his gospel. Please heal our world and its spirit. Give us each the courage to tell the wondrous story of your Son and our testimony that all should come to know you as the one true God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chief, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next item on our agenda is approval of minutes. We have 1 set of minutes from our regular meeting on July 11th. Got a motion? Second. Any comments, changes, questions, discussions, fights, arguments? All right. Hearing none, a call for the vote. All in favor of the minutes as presented on July 11th, or all in favor of the minutes for July 11th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries. Next item on our agenda is citizen comments. We'll open up the floor for our citizen comments. We reserve the right to terminate comments if the remarks become abusive to other citizens, employees, our fellow board members. The board's under no obligations to respond to questions from the floor, but if you will come forward, give us your name and address for the record, you'll be recognized for 3 minutes pursuant to Article 2, Section 222 of City Code. I think we have a taker. Name and address for the record, sir.
Chip Bailey, address is 140 Denny Drive, Mount Juliet, 37122. And I wanted to pop in tonight and talk for just a minute about let's see, is this good? About the volleyball league that I've been blessed to help start here in Mount Juliet. It's called TriStar Volleyball. It services girls in the 4th through 12th grade. And we have 200 active players right now and their families. We play at the community center at Charlie Daniels Park. And the program is growing faster than we can fund. And we're turning girls away, which I hate, because what we want to do is get them off their phones, get them off social media, get them off the couch and on the court. We want them gaining confidence, making friends, being active, and having fun. And that's our goal. We keep the registration fees low. We keep the program local, and it's all volunteer-based. It's community-based, and brings people into the community center. Parents make friends in the bleachers. Girls make friends on the court. And it's an honor helping to run it. And I just wanted to come and help talk about the program tonight and possibly seek funding in the future. So do I answer questions, or you want me to talk about it, or just go sit down?
Well, and it's your comment time. So if you have anything else for us?
We have applied. We are recognized as a nonprofit in the state of Tennessee. We are under the application process with the federal government and seeking funding through outside sources because facility rentals, insurance, referees, jerseys, websites, stuff like that. It's difficult to run a low cost youth sports program and be able to serve the community. So that's really what we're about.
Well, thank you, sir, for stepping up and doing that. And we'll appreciate all the effort you're putting into that.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else for citizen comments? All right. Seeing none, we will close citizen comments. We'll move to commissioner reports and comments. We'll start with Commissioner Trevette.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and kick off. First of all, I'd like to wish my daughter here that today's her 14th birthday, which is pretty cool. So she's here celebrating with Dad. I think that's the best honor right there for any dad, for her to come and, visit while he's at work. So it's kind of nice. But anyways, I figure I just kind of go down the list of a few items. This city has had some really cool stuff this past week, and I just want to give out some good shout outs to the folks. But I would like to remind everybody, we're still out there. I mean, as we had an opportunity to sit here and stand and, to pray, as well as, give appreciation to this flag behind me. I'll tell you, there's something else out there is for us to vote. And I think, this midterm and then November as well, don't take it for granted. Get out there. Early voting still going on for July 15th to the 30th. August 14th is the actual voting day for midterm. So every vote counts. Just wanted to send out first of all, thank you to the state, as well as the tourism commissioner and all of his staff that came out to celebrate for the Charlie Daniels unveiling for the memorial. That was pretty cool there. I know it was a little past due there, but the parks team, as well as everyone else that took time to celebrate that, it was really nice to see everybody out there. Let's see here, as well as let's see here. I'm just got to go down on my list here. I apologize. I got a little thrown off there, working off of a computer. So, yeah, I know. Thanks, Mayor or Vice Mayor. Thanks. Anyways, this past 50-year anniversary, I'll tell you, it was a great opportunity, and, be part of it, as well as get this, celebrate it with the city. I've heard nothing but great things from our neighbors, family, and friends. I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to everybody that was on the actual board that, that helped develop that program, as well as just took the time and effort to be part of the parks, the city, the staff, the police force, the fire department, and all of the, all the businesses that actually also came out to celebrate it. It was just, what a great turnout. I'm not quite for sure. Did we get the full numbers? But estimate over 10,000. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Yeah, no, it was a great turnout. So looking forward to seeing what our city can do better, next time, if there's ever an opportunity for us to keep stepping up our game to have another, good event there. So just wanted to tell everybody thank you. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hefner, you're recognized, sir, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming out this evening. Mr. Bailey, thank you for coming out. I know I asked you to come out and speak. The reason why it's also important I wanted him to speak is they are also on the list of charitable nonprofit organizations that we're going to be voting on later on this evening. He also works for the Parks Department. So appreciate all your help for the city. Just going to basically duplicate Mr. Trevette, Commissioner Trevette, 50th anniversary. I thank everybody that was involved in that. Rocky, you stepped up. I'm not sure where he's at tonight, but Rocky, you stepped up in a big way. Justin, I know you put a lot of time and effort into that, and it really it couldn't have been more evident that day. So really appreciate you. And a special shout out to the fire department Yes, the fire department, they actually changed the water in the dunk tank at my request to use the mini pumper truck. So I wasn't sure that was going to happen, but when I saw clear water instead of the brown water that was in there originally, I was very excited to get in that seat. So and yeah, we had over 10,000 people coming and going, and miraculously, and by the grace of God, there were no major issues. I didn't hear of any major issues. I know there was one child that lost their parents, or maybe the parents lost a child. I'm not sure, but we were able to reunite that child with their parents. And I hope we make it an annual event. We haven't talked about it, and we just finished this one up. So my hope is it ends up being an annual event and centered around music, because Mount Juliet, we've got a lot of musicians that live in this town, and we'd love to see them showcased once a year through an event like that. So the specific district update, I sit on the planning commission as well, and my district, District 3, is growing. There is a lot of growth about to come across our desks here over the next 60, 90 days. A lot of high density housing, unfortunate. I have not seen a whole lot of new construction developments coming through. I don't see it. I think the last one we voted on might've been my small project. But just keep that in mind. Not sure what the pivotal point was that's driving a lot of the high density. Maybe it's Wall Street and the money that's chasing after it. But it's a little disheartening to not see new home construction projects coming through. So with that, I conclude my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mullally?
Yeah. Again, thank you for everyone who put together the 50th birthday celebration. I know that y'all worked very hard on that, and for everyone that came out. And again, I have to say that water was just gross, but thankfully they got it clear. So we were all willing to get in it. And I have to say it felt good. It felt really good because it was hot. The music was awesome. Vice Mayor's band and Cherie, Commissioner Hefner's wife, and Daryl Worley was awesome. And I am embarrassed to say I did not know there was a Charlie Daniels Jr. So I was pleased to see that too. So let's see, teachers. If you've seen the signs around town, the chamber is giving them out, selling them for $10. And they also have posters they're giving out. And the teachers go back this week. So just finally got my sign last week to show support for all teachers across Wilson County. I'm going to Rutland Elementary in the morning to welcome the teachers back. Working on my newsletter this week. I hope to send that out Saturday for the July issue. There is the vote coming up on August 4th. It's the state and federal primary, as well as the county general. Lots of important seats up to vote. Still early voting going on now through, Friday the 30th, this Friday, I think. So please get out and vote. We need a good turnout. The turnout has not been good. It all starts here at home. So please get out and vote. My seat is up in November, and this will end the 4-year term. And so it's a little confusing because I got appointed midterm, and then I ran in 2020, got elected. So this seat ends in November, ends the 4-year term. So I am out this summer knocking on doors, and hope to see you. Look for me in my little red wagon. That's all.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Justice?
Thank you. I want to thank everybody at City Hall. I want to thank Sheila and Christy, and especially Justin Beasley and Rocky, the Bompsey twins. I started calling them after all I saw was Rocky, and it was it used to be the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. It was the Rocky and Beasley show in this particular case, where they were on the internet, they were out in public, they were at public meetings, they did everything in the world to promote the birthday bash is what I'm going to call it for the city of Mount Juliet. And I was extremely proud of the turnout. And, the committee, I sat on the committee as well. We did some work. Sheila did a ton of work. Christy did a ton of work. And there were some others. But I got to tell you, if it hadn't been for Rocky and Bullwinkle or Beasley doing such a wonderful job, we wouldn't have had the 10,000 plus people that we had show up at our park. So Justin Beasley is probably one of our newest employees. Kudos. Great job what you're doing as a public information officer. I'm very proud of you. So if we would make sure and let Rocky know as well the work that he and the Parks Department done, the police department, the fire department, all of the city agencies jumped in and made it a huge, huge success. Of course, now that's just one of events that's going to take place, and there'll probably be some others that are going to pop up. Various businesses are talking about that as well, doing something for the 50th anniversary of the city of Mount Juliet. And then, of course, on December the 12th of 2022 will actually be the 50th birthday. It will be that night. We have a meeting, if I'm not mistaken, that night. So I'm not sure what festivities will take place at that point, but that will be the night that we actually celebrate the birthday of the city of Mount Juliet, which is the greatest city in the history of the world, as far as I'm concerned. So Kenny Martin, who is the boss, you're running a tight ship and a good ship, buddy, and I couldn't ask for anybody to do any better job than what you're doing. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll just tag on to what everyone said up here. It's very true. A big thank you to all the staff and the volunteers that made the 49.625 celebration of the city's anniversary that made it a huge success. It was. As the vice mayor pointed out, the actual birthday is on December 12th, and that's just our first step in the celebration of the birth of the incorporation of this city. So a lot of people did a lot of effort, put a lot of work into making the city what it is, and I'm proud to be here and to build on the foundations that they've laid for us. So a lot of that, and remembering the stuff that's going on before us, and of course all the efforts that's put in to make the celebration itself the success it was. And city manager, we'll recognize you now for your comments for the next 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board of Commissioners, everybody in attendance, and those out there listening. I too would like to thank everybody that's involved, in particular commission, because you garnered us some support financially to hire some of the entertainment. I think a lot of the entertainment was actually volunteer. If I'm correct, I believe maybe Ms. Hefner and the Vice Mayor's band were volunteer. And I got to sit there and reminisce because I am old enough to remember a lot of the songs that were played. So it was fun going back, especially in the early country days. Vice Mayor, you were raised here, so you're hearing a lot of the old stuff like Patsy Cline and things of that nature. That if you were in Mount Juliet many years ago, everybody had a big belt buckle, a big truck, and they listened to country music. And a lot of that's changed over the years, but it was fun to sit there and listen to the old classics and even the new stuff. And it was well done. So thank you to the elected body for supporting your staff and your city, and also to the citizens that came out and participated. Rob Ely's not here, but I'd definitely like to send a shout out to him. He sort of ran and operated, I guess you'd call it the History Pavilion, as we called it. And it was sort of neat to go through there and look at a lot of the folks that were instrumental, just like yourselves, in making Mount Juliet what it is today, and the people that are in this room and the people out and about. So I was blown away by it. By far, in my 33 years of the city, I can tell you it's probably the best event that we've ever held in the city and the most well-attended event. So kudos to everybody that was involved, including those that came out in the heat. And I'd like to thank Mr. Andy Barlow and Rocky for those speed bumps that are in the park. They work, and they work well. They slow people down. And I've got a truck that unfortunately has some lower components on the suspension, and I drug every one of them. So I left my initials on the speed bumps, but I got in there. So it was fun. It's for the car show part, not because of anybody else's clearances, but thank you. I'd also like to thank everybody for continuing to shop local. Our sales tax numbers continue to come in high. I know a lot of that's also driven by inflation, which I hope that part goes down. Some of the extra costs that our citizens are incurring, but it's nice to have places where you can shop in your own community, so you don't have to burn as much fuel to get places. And to Mr. Bailey and the parks crew down there, thank you for your efforts. That young man right there is a breath of fresh air. He's always got a big smile and willing to do anything you need to do. But real quick, and I'll finish up, Mayor, I've got a couple special guests that helps us promote our city, have been doing so since 2019. and they have a presentation for the city. And I've got Miss Chris Midget. She's the executive editor and owner of the Life Between the Lakes magazine. If you've seen those, they're always well done. A lot of work goes into that and getting out in the public and getting people to help with sponsorships and all. And you two ladies can go up here to the mic. I also have Miss Ann R. Smith. She's the managing editor, and they've got a couple pieces of art they'd like to present to the city for us to post here at City Hall. And so I don't know if y'all can see that, but the one piece is a bunch of the I guess you say covers of past editions. She's been in business since 2019. She comes to every city function. She was there on Saturday and all the heat. And what I love about it is everything about that is Mount Juliet. It's things that are happening in our community. It's old vehicles. It's the lakes, you know, and I constantly want to call it City Between the Lakes, but it's life, you know, basically. And I get that wrong every time. But do you one of you ladies want to say anything, or you welcome to go over to the mic? But she put that together for us. I thought it was cool because, you know, a lot of, I think her 15-year-old son took one of the pictures.
Yeah, he took the photo for the history, the most recent issue.
Yeah,
So, so if you like the magazine, you can blame me. If you don't like it, it's Ray's fault.
that's right.
I'm just kidding, kind of. Anyway, so thank you guys for all your support. I wanted to present this to you guys because the city is so helpful. Without this, without all of your support, the magazine wouldn't be going as well as it's going. We're a monthly magazine and it's all positive because the world's got enough negative. So, so congratulations, you win our, no, just kidding. See, I told you to say dumb things. Anyway, we're a little less hurried, a little less worried, living life between the lakes.
That's right.
That's my tagline.
And thank you, ladies, so much for being here. And Mayor and Commission and those here and watching tonight, I know it sounds hokey, and Ray always he'll give me that kumbaya, but there's a lot of stress in this world, and we know that, and it's hard sometimes to take enough time to smell the roses, you'd say. But boy, we live in one heck of a community, one blessed community with wonderful things happening here all the time, and it takes every one of us working together with the same vision and goals in mind. And I just can't thank you enough. I know sometimes it's easy to take that for granted. There's places that'd love to trade places with Mount Juliet, Tennessee in a minute, and I couldn't be any prouder of each of you in this city. So thank you, and God bless everybody. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'll add to wonderful magazine. I know they put a lot of work into that, and we're very appreciative of the gifts here that you bring. So I know it represents a lot of work and effort on your behalf. So again, thank you.
Mayor, I've got one thing that's very important. And if you would like to mention this, well, sister city, Brentwood. If you
Yeah, let me
hate to end on a note like that, but
yeah, and I'm sure you're referring to the passing of Regina Smithson.
Yes,
there
sir.
at Brentwood, and yes, that's a terrible situation there. And of course, you know, I send my condolences, and I know the board joins me along with everyone else there. The condolences to the city of Brentwood at the loss of a lady I understand not only a current commissioner, but served in the past as a mayor of the city as well. Served on numerous boards. And I believe has been involved with the city for a period of 30 years in that. So
that's correct, Mayor.
She's left quite a mark there on it. And of course, our prayers are definitely with her family, and everyone there with the city of Brentwood that's impacted and connected to her. And I know she's left a huge mark on that community, and appreciate you bringing that up.
And it's a unique situation because their vice mayor is Nelson Andrews, who owns Andrews Cadillac, this building here in our city, and our sister cities are about the same age. I believe their birthdays about the same time. And we have a really good relationship with Brentwood and vice versa, and they've helped us when we need it, and we've helped them. And so it's not oftentimes that the folks that dedicate so much of their personal lives, like our elected body, get recognized the way that they should. So when they pass and have served for that long, we like to pay them the due respect that they deserve. And we wish to thank her for all her dedicated service and her family for sacrificing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your report, sir.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move into the business portion of their agenda. We have what I think was a quick agenda, but we will see. I will read the first part, 9-1, which is our only item on unfinished business. Read this into the record. An ordinance to rezone the property known as Chris Campbell property located at the southern corner of Hillview Drive at North Mount Juliet Road, map 72A, Group A, parcel 30, from single-family residential RS40 to commercial town center CTC. Have a motion? Second. All right, the item's on the floor. Any questions, comments, or discussions? Got Mr. Hefter.
Do you want to go first? Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Vice Mayor Justice.
Thank you. Taking a closer look at the property, I know that there are some issues that have come up in relation to another piece of property that is situated much similar to this one, to the Hillview community or homes up there. And so there are some restrictions that were imposed some time ago. We need to make sure that those restrictions were actually taken out or not re-upped. And I've got some concerns about that. I also got some concerns about the layout of this property. I was under the impression it was the entire piece of property was a full acre and was attached to the home in the back, but it turns out that that's not the case. It's a less than half acre or right at half acre. So it's not even a full half acre, is it? And do we have any idea what the proposed use for this is? Is he on?
Drive-through
Sorry.
commercial
Drive-through
was
commercial?
the initial. It was mentioned, but there's a straight rezone, so no associated plan is required with it since it's straight rezone. It lines up with the land use map, and they're asking for CTC, town center commercial. But in the discussions we had initially, it would be something along those lines. And for such in a CTC zoning, you'd need the minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet. And they got about 185 feet of frontage on Mount Juliet Road, roundabout. So it isn't the whole thing like you were thinking, including that house back there. It's just that corner parcel, parcel 30. And I guess that's the gist.
So the square footage on it is approximately 20,000,
10.
a little less than 20,000.
Yeah, it's 18, and they need 10,000 minimally to develop.
So
a
it does
CT
meet
site.
the minimum requirements for the square footage.
It does.
Okay.
And if they were to develop it, it'd be, it's not since it doesn't have an overlay at all, it'd be every site plan requirement would have to be hit. And since they're up against residential, it'd be buffer. It'd be a tight site for sure. It'd be a tight site to develop for sure.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you with the buffers. If you do buffers on actually two sides.
Yeah, and they'd be about 20 feet wide.
So you're taking 20 feet wide by approximately 80 feet.
180 feet maybe.
Yeah. So what does that cut the square footage down to at that point?
Oh gosh, that'd be 20 feet wide. So, it might bring it. I don't know. I didn't run that number, but you'd still be 10,000 square feet.
Okay.
Because remember, that's also your setback too. Rear setback is 20 feet. So
Okay.
it could be in there. And since it's commercial, you don't really have to worry about maintaining a usable backyard for any kids to play in or whatever.
Big
So
concrete if you want it.
It could be just the buffer, for the
Okay.
yard,
Yeah. Until what I would respectfully ask if we could to defer this at least one meeting until I've looked at this a little bit closer and get a little more information, because I don't think we got the full scale of what's supposed to be going there. And I'm a little concerned,
Right.
actually.
Yeah, it's just drive-through commercial is all I've heard.
Yeah. I don't see
Maybe
a
the
drive-through
second
piece being big enough.
Are they here to, is that correct?
Okay, we have a motion to defer one meeting. Is that correct?
At least one. Yes, sir. Please.
One meeting and
I'll
Mr.
second.
Hefter second.
I do want to express now my opinion on this. So I too was under the impression it was both parcels.
Yeah, they're two separate parcels.
Yeah, two separate
Yeah.
parcels. So did the original owner subdivide that and then sell the house?
Yes, it's been a while. I've
Okay.
been around 4 years, and it was prior to that, so I don't.
Yeah,
What date that was?
I know we can defer it, but I'm
don't
I'm
think
gonna
they-
struggle with supporting this, and here's why. And Andy Barlow can get up and speak to this, but I have no idea how TDOT is going to approve a curb cut on this property, given the close proximity of that, of the corner piece there.
Just feasibility of
And maybe,
deferral
Mr. Barlow, if you
right
can
now.
speak
Yeah.
to that.
Right now, we're on the deferral.
Sorry. Yeah.
Unless that we, all right, we're on deferral right now. We got a motion to defer. Actually give you a little time to think about this, because I think I think if this deferral passes, it'll be back hearing it next meeting anyway.
That's fine.
Anything else on deferral?
Mm-mm.
All right, all in favor of deferral, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That's deferred for one meeting.
Got off the hook.
This time. We have 4 other items here under 4 resolutions at least. I'll read the first, Resolution 11-1, a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee and Gresham Smith for planning and design of Western Connector project and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Mr. Mullally.
Oh, Andy. Has it been determined where on Central Pike this would be beginning?
And that's a great question. So what we're voting on tonight is the general structure of the contract with Gresham Smith, but then what we're actually approving to actually get started on is the planning study. So part of that is trying to determine what route or routes that we're going to be considering for this Western connector. And I say it, connectors is probably what I want to reiterate, because what we need on the western half of town is multiple north-south alignments. So you could be talking John Wright Road, you could be talking a new road, you could be talking Chandler Road. It could be any number of different places that we might be looking at. But generally speaking, I'm thinking somewhere, roughly that John Wright Road could be a good area, or anywhere in that vicinity. Really, the idea, we want to have something to maximize the Central Pike interchange. We're going to have Pleasant Grove Road. We're already working on design on that one. But then this is going to be somewhere west of Pleasant Grove Road, generally speaking.
Would the main cut through north of that be to Lebanon Road, be South Green Hill?
Well, and that's another great question on it. It could be South Green Hill. We could take a portion of the existing Tate Lane that's in good shape. There you have Benton Douglas Parkway that comes down from the new high school. That could be another, going cross country, could be a new alignment. So there's several different ones. It could be both. The idea of this is to create one or more routes for people to take north-south. Basically, general idea is west half of town, connecting Central Pike to Lebanon Road. So the rest of it's open. We'll be, after, hopefully, with this being passed, we'd come back to the commission after some time, going through some study and doing some traffic analysis and bringing some, we'll have some public meetings on this. So I anticipate the planning aspect of this is going to be pretty involved.
Okay, that's all I had.
Vice Mayor.
Have you gone back to the year 2000, 2001 and looked at any of the documents that are there?
Yes, I have. In fact, I've even gone in and found some of the old TDOT plans for the Mount Juliet Road realignment project. So first it was the Central Pike project, and then it was Mount Juliet Road realignment. Yeah. And so most of those are gone because of subdivisions in the way. It was actually, that was going to connect all the way up to Nonoville Road. The original idea of that was connecting Central Pike Interchange to Nonoville Road.
And then they wound up with a wall of rock that they didn't anticipate at the end of Nonoville Road going
That's
up.
right.
Yeah.
About a 30-foot wall.
Yeah.
Or more. And of course, now you have Nicholsville that's right there. And so our context has changed in the last 20 plus years. So we got to be sensitive to that. If we can use an existing road, maximize the use of that. Might be some short connectors. I'll say probably our biggest challenge will be getting across Stoner Creek.
So do you have an anticipation of the time frame?
We would end up, my thought is to have some public meetings this fall. And once we get through the planning aspect of this, and then we'll kind of set our alignment. And then as a result of that, we come back and then we'd basically pick My thoughts are pick one or more routes we want to start doing design on, and then we come back and we start doing the design. So,
And that anticipated time frame for that?
be up in the air depending on what we select. It's really too hard to.
Is this going to be a TDOT project or be a Mountain Juliet project?
Our thoughts are right now is started as a city project, but leave it open for TDOT funding if some became available.
So we would start it with a 5-year anticipated time frame to finish it. And then if TDOT jumps in, then we'll put it at 30 years, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the idea, some of this could be TDOT, some of it could be city, depending on where we pick.
Wow. Commissioner Hefner?
You mentioned before that your expected time frame was to coincide with the Central Pike.
Mhm.
Okay, and which is we're about 5 years. I know we keep hearing that, but
Yeah.
So, and I know there's some progress being made. So, do you still feel like that this is going to be coincide with the
I think
Central Pike?
if you had a doable piece and you could just say, hey, we want to have, it's critical that we have element A. We're going to have, I'm going to say we'll probably have, anywhere from 3 to 5 different projects that come out of this one study. And we probably are going to pick out, all right, we've got to have this done before the interchange goes in or around that same time. And so for that, I could say, yes, that would be a goal, is to have at least one connection. If we say, hey, we want to connect Old Lebanon Dirt to Central Pike as phase 1, I anticipate multiple phases out of
Gotcha.
this.
Okay, appreciate it. One last thing. I noticed in the contract, which I did read, because I'm a nerd like that, the period of service, which is referenced in 3.02, time for completion. It references on packet page 42, the time of period or the period of service is TBD. So is there a reason why we couldn't put a date for them to complete this?
You could put something in for the study and report phase. The remainder of it, I think you'd have to do with subsequent supplements to this agreement.
Okay, I mean specific to this
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
would that date?
So what we're voting on tonight, I mean, obviously is the whole contract, but what we're committing to tonight is it's on that same packet page as item under C 2.01 is item A1, talking about the lump sum amount of $93,000 for the study and report phase. We could put a 6-month time frame or maybe an 8-month time frame. I think would probably be feasible on
Okay.
that.
Okay. Can we put 6 months in there?
Sure.
Do we need to amend?
I think we just subject.
I would think so. Gino?
Just make a note. Tonight, make it subject to legal review, but we can amend it to provide for
6 months.
6 months to be put in.
Okay.
And there are a couple other things as well that we've written them, told them they need to change, like the waiver of subrogation and some other items.
Okay. So subject to legal review.
Yes.
Okay.
It's good.
Do you need to do that as a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay. And a second. All right. Any questions or comments on the amendment there, subject to legal review? Vice Mayor?
I would like to specifically add in there, subject to legal review and the change specifically being to the time frame of 6 months and other items as determined by legal.
You good with that?
I'm good with that.
All right. Any other questions or comments before we vote? All right, all in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment carries. We're back on the resolution as once amended. Any other questions or comments before we call for the vote? All right, all in favor of the resolution as amended, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And that resolution, it now carries. We passed that one. And we'll move on to 11.2, resolution approving grants by the city of Mount Juliet as previously budgeted in 2022-2023 budget ordinance 2022-32.
Motion.
Have a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Hefner? You want to add anything?
Yeah, I just one I would ask Gino. So 2 days ago, I was asked before I did the allocations on this, and I used tried to look at what we have done historically. There was one, I noticed that the Fire Explorers did not request any, so I moved that up to the Police Explorers. But I was asked 2 days ago by TriStar, specifically, they asked me to be a board member sit on their board, which I accepted. I don't know, Gina, there's no pay involved and no compensation to this. I think, Ray, Vice Mayor, you've done these before and sat on baseball board. So, but I wanted, in all full transparency, I want to ask if I need to recuse myself from this vote or if I can vote on this.
Since you're on the board and voting to give the board money, even though it's a not-for-profit, it'd be better to recuse yourself.
Okay, and I will do so. Okay, and that's it.
All right. Any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor of 11.2, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the resolution carries. (11.3), a resolution declaring a vehicle impounded by the City of Mount Juliet Police Department as abandoned property and declaring it, I knew I was going to do that, declaring IT equipment as surplus to be sold on Gov Deals, and the sale proceeds to be distributed as allowed by law. A motion and a second. I knew with this caption being all capital letters, I would read IT as it. All right, any other questions or comments on this before we vote? I have one for city manager. It says the funds will be distributed according to TCA 5516-106. Have we designated any recipient of this, or is this kind of open-ended?
That's a great question, Mayor. And if we have, I'm not aware of that, but I think we do have a police representative here. Captain Chandler can maybe speak to that.
We're always open-minded, but we wanted to do what we can to help out the Mount Juliet Help Center. They've been helping us lately with helping a person experiencing homelessness in our community, and maybe we can use this to recoup some of the money that they put out for this person.
I apologize.
Vice Mayor?
I'm sorry. Is there a number attached to this?
Well, it's
Or
got to
is it
sell
what-
first.
whatever
It's got to
sells
sell
at.
first, yeah. And then we would, once we got the revenue off that sale, we would have to come back to you anyway to let you know where it's going.
So it would have to come back and be a budget amendment, taken in, taken out,
Yes, sir.
to clarify the votes, correct?
Yes,
And it
sir.
will be going directly to the Mount Juliet Community Help Center, correct?
That's what we've talked about in the office, but we have to know how much we're going to get. They could sell for $20, and we'd be still giving them $20, but
Can we designate those funds to go to that location tonight? Through an amendment?
I don't see why not.
yeah.
So that would be an amendment that I would make then, if we could, to make that money, whatever revenue is brought in by the sale of the property would go to the Mount Juliet Community Help Center
Yep, sounds great.
as a viable and 501c3.
Yep, got a motion, got a second on that. Yeah, and I that sounds like a great toast. I was just curious if there was something, and I'm glad to hear that there was, and that so I think we got a amendment, our motion made at least, to designate the proceeds of the sale. Or I suppose it would be bringing back the ordinance to designate the proceeds of the sale, that the ordinance be brought back with the proceeds going to the Mount Juliet Help Center. And I suppose if I thought about that a second, we could say that a little clearer, but
I'm sorry.
Yep.
First thing you do is make sure there's enough to take care of the expenses, the towing and all that. Then any fund that we have to take care of other towing and expenses. But if we have enough money in that, then it goes to the general fund to be designated, however,
Okay.
the BOC.
So we're
decides.
basically, we're designating any money over and above expenses as surplus money to go to that location, correct?
Or it goes to the general fund, and then however you handle the funds in the
And
general
allocate.
fund.
Got it. Okay.
you good with proceeds above expenses? All right. All right, any other questions or comments on the amendment? All right, all in favor of the amendment that if there's any proceeds or funds above our expenses be brought back on the ordinance designated to the help center? Please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right. Back on 11.3 is once amended. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of 11.3, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 11.3 carries. 11.4, a resolution approving a lease with Library Properties for rental of 1,800 square feet of office space in the city center complex on North Mount Juliet Road for the fire department administrative staff, and authorize the city manager to sign the lease. Got a motion? Second. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the fire chief's here as well. I know during the budget process, they put some money in just simply because the current fire station's not built out yet, so they need some space. So it's a 1-year lease. Talked to Mr. Lineberry today. There's still, I think, some issues with the final lease that we've got tonight, but he has communicated with Gino. I think they're going to, I believe, service the air conditioning unit and things of that nature if it needs it. In the lease, I think it had it written as that we would do that. So he's agreeable to that. He's here tonight. And so Gino will be working with Mark to tweak the final language in the lease.
Okay.
But we appreciate him. He negotiated with us a little bit as well on the lease rate and covering some other things that would otherwise not be covered, like CAM fees, things of that nature, I believe.
So this is a 1-year lease. Do we expect to be that long before our fire department's ready? Okay. That was an indication of yes. So.
Mayor, in a lighthearted moment, I did try to get Mr. Limery to fully equip and outfit the facility, but I was pushing my luck on that one.
You did get a smile out of it.
Yes, but I would like to thank Mr. Lineberry for working with the city and with the fire department in particular, and thank the commission for allowing us that opportunity to give them some space in the interim.
All right.
Recognized in the building tonight. The man is going to be taking over for Mark Lineberry and kicking him to the curb is beside him back there. So
I think what makes this space ideal, it's proximity to
City Hall.
in the center of City Hall and center of the city. So thank you.
Commissioner O'Leary.
Just a couple of questions. So this basically is $40,000 over a period of 12 months. This doesn't require a rezone, just to lease space.
No.
Okay. On the resolution where it says the third whereas, the cost of the contract was placed in the budget, is that referring to the lease contract, or is this referring to, because I don't remember having a discussion about the lease contract before. So what exactly is the contract referring to?
It's on our budget request on line item 531. It'd be on page 73 of your budget that you reviewed.
Mhm.
It had lease payment.
It did?
For that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have it here. All right, let's see. Number 10 of the lease, it talked about the HVC
Mhm.
for maintenance. If the unit goes out, would the city be required to replace it?
No, that's what we were discussing just a moment ago. Mr. Lineberry has said that he will have the maintenance and care of the HVAC unit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been, I've got the contract where that's been removed and he signed off on it.
Number 12. After the 12 months, if we decide to continue the lease, we would pay month to month. And the lease goes up by 120%. Is that right?
Is that Mark?
This is just a form lease. I didn't, yeah, but that can be 100%. We can just leave it the same rent if he stays longer. So that's fine. Take out the 120 and just make it the
Okay.
same,
Okay.
which would be 100%.
So do we need to motion to have that taken out now? Or
Take it out. Right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, he can take it out right now. No, I think it's part of what he.
Part of what Gino's going to do.
Yeah,
That is a
it'll
good
be-
point to point that
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally, it was a 2-year lease.
Yeah, I saw
and they asked
that.
To shorten it to a 1 year. So
yeah.
that's why.
Okay, so that was under his list.
In light of our current Station 2 coming online,
Uh-huh.
and then with the plans that we spoke about tonight, we're formulating different avenues to path forward. with where we want to be as far as where our administration is, and then how our operations are.
All right. And just a curious question, the clerk's office back here that we bought, what are we doing with that?
That's a small area. Most of that is archives, and then there's one office in there for the City Beautiful personnel.
Okay. So that would not be sufficient amount of space for what they're wanting
We were
to do,
hoping
right?
for that originally if we could, but with the expansion of police department and their growth needs, they end up taking the entire facility on the hill. And so we had to move our archives out of that and into this facility.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea of the need for the 1,800 square feet we're going to have, that's going to be our central supply for all of our medical supplies and our narcotics. And those have to hit certain standards to be approved by the Department of EMS and TDOT for us to have those. And this facility fits that to a bill.
Okay. That's all.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, sir.
That you reference book, chapter, page, and line of the budget. That number was.
I
Anyways,
learned a
kudos
few
to you.
things standing right here over the years. Thank you, sir.
Budget may have been a point of suffering at times. All in favor of 11.4, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That
Thank you.
carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Our final item on our agenda is appointment of BPAC voting members. Commissioner Mullally, we don't have to do recognize you, Commissioner Mullally, for the appointments.
Okay. So I was told this didn't have to be a resolution, but everyone's term was expired. So this is a new list for new terms. So it has to be voted on by the commission. So this is my list of nominations. So I would like to present it to be voted on.
I guess the first question is there's two names, Mike and Brenda here at one, and it says one vote.
Yeah, take Brenda's name off. It's Mike, her husband.
Okay. Vice Mayor, do you?
I mean, in my district, I mean, one of the things that we've always tried to do is to, give the individual commissioners an opportunity to appoint people in their districts if that was something that fell within our purview. So we weren't given any latitude to see if there were others that might be interested in serving as well. I don't know if there are a numbers limits or what that scenario looks like.
By code, the commissioner that we point to the BPAC brings the names.
So we don't have any say in.
We have a vote on them.
Well, how in the world would I say that I didn't want somebody on there? That's kind of putting me in who come up with that ordinance anyway?
The Board of Commissioners did pass this in 2013.
Well, I wasn't here in 2013.
I do think before we go too deep into this, there is a problem based on 2013-75. It specifically calls out that each one of these members are supposed to provide a written bio to us. And I don't know if I didn't see it as an attachment. And I asked, I'm sorry it's coming last minute, but I asked Ms. Luckett if 2013-75 was the last iteration of the BPAC ordinance. I was afraid there was one that I guess replaced it, but I don't. And I'll ask you, have you found anything? And we're still on 2013-75 is the last ordinance that outlines how this works.
I left during the City Hall presentation to go verify. And this is still the version.
Okay.
And when I worked with Commissioner Mullally on the terms, I worked with this.
Was that your last reference, 2013-75?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we worked on it together.
Can we, and since this is not this is not a resolution, is it?
It's not a resolution, no.
So is there a deferral process for something that is not a resolution?
I do think this needs to be brought back in compliance with 2013-75. our city attorney, I believe, has some wisdom
I'd say
for us.
just defer it to one meeting, then you get the bios sent around. And if anyone has a suggestion, send it to Ms. Mullally. Getting volunteers to serve is something again. So I was happy to see a full list, but that would be my suggestion.
Okay, motion to defer one meeting.
Have a second on the deferral. Look, Commissioner Hefner, did you have anything to add on the deferral, or?
My question is a more broader question, but not specific to the deferral. So I'm fine voting on the deferral.
Right.
Just, yeah. Some of these expiration dates, I'm a little confused by what I'm looking at. Some of these are expiring in a couple of years.
That's
They're staggered.
the way it actually reads in the ordinance.
Yeah.
It does.
I'll
So
send
a
you a
certain
copy
number,
of 2013-75.
It says staggered.
Got it.
But we're voting on them all. It's all or nothing. Is that
Well, they've all expired.
everybody's expired?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There was another issue that I had, and if we can just talk about this, it's not in relation, but it's not actually a resolution too. Are all the people that are nominated are the same people that have been on there for a number of years?
Not all were voting members, but they replied to me that they would like to be voting members. So there's 9 voting members. Anybody can be a member of BPAC, but there's 9 voting members. So these are the ones that showed interest, that wanted to be a voting member.
But they have been on here, on the committee for a period of time in the past, correct? For a year or more? Whether they were voting members or non-voting members is
All
not,
but
that's what I'm asking.
all but one. Tammy Jones is new.
Who? I'm sorry.
Tammy, the last
Tammy
one.
Jones, the county
Yeah.
person, county representative. Okay.
Well, we're on deferral right now. Just say I appreciate you bringing the list and getting this together. So is the first step to getting this codified. So with that, if there's anything else on deferral, all in favor of deferral for one meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is deferred one meeting, and we will hear this again on our first meeting in August. And with that, that completes our agenda tonight. So without objection, we will stand adjourned.